How do you find the purpose in life? How do you find the purpose in life? There are various means to find the purpose in life, but most of the people take the route which are not natural. That is, most of the people take the mind and they are finding the reason why I am doing something, and they use the logic and the intelligence to find their purpose, and that is where they go wrong. The purpose is nothing that can be driven by the mind, logic, intelligence. The purpose is something which is always driven by the emotion, always driven by the feelings, always driven by your heart. And that is the reason the passion and purpose are going hand in hand, where you understand that passion and purpose both are driven by the heart, whereas your skills, your knowledge, information processing, and everything is driven by the mind. Most of the time we do not listen to our hearts. How many of you are simply listening to, justifying, rationalizing the things which are driven by the mind? So if I ask you, if you love to do something, what Yadvinder says that, oh, I want to do a dieting and nutrition and wellness part of it, but his heart is lying there, but his mind says that, oh, I need to feed me, my family, and I have to create the wealth. So what he will do is he will continue to be in that triangle what we call yesterday. That's called the Bermuda Triangle, the safety, security, and survival triangle, where you are focusing on what is my gain in that entire game. And that's where you continue to fight for your competition. How many of you agree with that? When people are driven by the purpose, most of them are driven by something beyond themselves. That means they think beyond themselves. That means there are other people included in that purpose. If you remember yesterday, we talked about the passion, which is again the same thing, that it is including the other people. How you can impact through your passion is what we discussed yesterday. Today we are talking about how we can actually create that purpose in life which is beyond you. Now if we have to think about what is beyond you, you need to now start thinking about that what has impacted you in your life. So right from the childhood till this point, I'm sure you must have gone through many incidents. Which is that one or two incident that has a very huge impact on your mind, and why? The first question you need to ask yourself is, which is that one or two incident which has a very big impact on your mind, that is still lasting, that if you close your eyes and if you want to remember that incident, you can easily remember that incident. Now, that has to do with something which has been injustice to you, something which has been done wrong with you, something you have been exploited for, or something which you didn't find it well in the world which you want to change. Now think about it. Very, very broad messages that are coming from your childhood, from your memory. What is that you feel that has been an injustice to you? What is there something which you feel that can be changed in the world for the betterment of the world? For example, you have gone through a lot of struggle, like me going through a lot of struggle while in the childhood, where I had to financially support my parents by working at a small age instead of enjoying the childhood. So, what should I do today which can help other people not to go through that process? So, who can I stop? Can I stop children? Absolutely not. But can I empower the people of my age and below who can excel and empower themselves to a level in wealth, influence, and growth so that their children do not go through that process? How many of you are realizing it? So I connect the dots, connecting backward, that what was there in my life, in my childhood, which has always been something very close to and I wanted to change. So that injustice could be that you were not recognized. or you were bullied, or you were probably abused by some people. So, those things which you want to change, or your parents always used to fight for something. What is that something which is actually give the purpose, the meaning to your life? Because otherwise, let me tell you, everybody has got the ticket which is having the finite number. Yes or no? Everybody has got the ticket. You have only two certificates to collect from this entire life, and both are collected by somebody else and not you. One is your birth certificate collected by your parents, death certificate collected by your children. That's it. Rest of the certificates are just to pass through the journey. They have no meaning. How many of you agree with that? How many of you have an aha moment? Do you agree with that? Yeah? So this is something which you need to understand, that if my life is only between these two certificate, why shouldn't I explore something which is more significant to me rather than chasing something which everybody else is chasing? And it is only for me, myself. So think about it. Till this point, your life was always about me. Mera paisa, meri zameen, mera ghar, my money, my clothes, my car, my bike, and so on. So it is always about me, me, me. That is a possession, correct? And think about it, that from the birth of a child till this point, we have been always a consumer, and we are not the producer or giving something back. And that was something which I realized when I was working in a corporate life. I watched a video from a group president of Birla Group, I think. Yeah, Birla Group. Shiva Kumar. If I'm not sure whether you guys have heard of him or not, but Shiv Kumar. So he gave a speech in a review of a book called The Catalyst, and Catalyst is written by his friend and one of the author, correct? And in that in that speech of around 4 5 minutes or so, he said that ever since the birth we have been always consuming, consuming, consuming. After you reach to a point where you have acquired something in your life, right? Because your hunger will never be over. Think about it. Your hunger of more will never be over. Do you all realize that? That your hunger for more is never over. As a bachelor, you might be earning in some thousand. Today, you are earning in lakhs, but still you are not satisfied. Yes or no? Everyone, right? So, today you are earning in lakhs, but still not satisfied. Why? Because your hunger is not going to be over. People are looking for that more, 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 more. Now think about it. What he says is that people, right from the birth, we have been always a consumer of things, but we are never giving back despite acquiring so much of knowledge, skill, talent, expertise, experience, and everything. So let's say today one of you get heart attack, or today if I die, what will I take from this world from? What will I take? Everything that I have learned for 40 years is taken away in one moment. How many of you agree with that? Everything that I have learned for 40 years will be taken away in just one moment of a stroke. Game is finished, and that guy died full of knowledge and everything that he has earned. How many of you are realizing and have an aha moment? Because now there's a concept called dying empty. That means that before you die, give everything that you can to this world so that people get benefited, the next generations get benefited, the people in the world get benefited. And that's how you die empty. When you're dying empty, then you will have the joy of living the life. When you die full, you'll have a regrets. How many of you are realizing and have an aha moment? If you die empty, you'll have a joy on your face while you're dying. If you're dying full, you'll always have regrets that I wish I didn't do it. Yeah. So this is one of the thing which I have realized uh, in my 17 years of experience. After that, I realized this thing, and as soon as I realized, I asked myself, what am I giving back? Actually, everything is I am earning is for me and myself, my family. Me, myself, my family is something which I don't want to go and think beyond that. So how can I think beyond that? And that is where I started my journey from. How can I start giving back to the society? How can I start probably impacting people and die empty? The intent is to die empty, and that is where the purpose comes into picture. So note down the questions that can help you find your purpose. The first and foremost question is, what are those incidents or events which has actually made the biggest impact in your life, which will be in the form of injustice, maybe uh, what do you call the abuse, or in terms of something which you want to change in the life. So what is that one incident, two incident that you have gone through, the experience that you have gone through, right? One of my mentees actually has gone through, what do you call that, he had gone through some of the bad parenting, right? He was abused, he was bullied in the school as well, and the parents were also doing the same thing. So what he is now hell-bent of doing is that, how can I change the parents towards the children? How can I change the parents towards the children? And that became his purpose, that I want to see the world where the parents learn how to grow the children better. And that's a beautiful purpose to have, isn't it? Because now we are living in a dynamic digital world where the distances, while distances are reducing through social media, the distance between the heart is increasing at the same time. You don't wish birthday anymore on the phone. Your birthday wishes are going on Facebook wall and the WhatsApp. How many of you agree with that? Imagine a time of a postcard where people used to write the postcards. The feelings were there, emotions were there. Now there is nothing. Say hello, hi, happy birthday, it's all okay. Yes, everybody writes. There is all now pre-populated words, so you don't even write. You just click, 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 and it will go to 1,000 people. That means you have created a distance in the golden period of social age where we have shortened the distance between the humans. The reason is that we are not living by the purpose of impacting beyond us. How many of you are realizing? Do you feel that there is a need to search the purpose, discover your own purpose? Yes or no? Do you feel the need to search for your own purpose? That is the question. Yeah. So note down this question so that you understand how do you find your purpose. Okay. Now let me ask you some of the things. Okay. One thing which you need to ask is that what has actually captured your heart in the period that you have grown up or since your childhood, that you feel that I have experienced, but I don't want others to experience that. Something which is not so favorable, but you want others to not experience that. What is that one difference that you want to make for the current generation, that is today's generation, and maybe the next generation, that is our children's generation? What is that one thing that you want to make a difference? That is number one questions that you need to ask yourself. The the second thing which you need to ask is that if you had a lot of money today, right? If you had a lot of money, what would you have done for the society or for others? If you would have a lot of money, what would you have done for the society and for others? Now think about it, just not in the terms of charity. Okay, oh, I will donate all the money to the organization. That is easier part to do it, right? What I want you to actually understand is that you need to find out what is that something which is very close to your heart, that captures your heart, that you say, oh, I want to probably do for girl education, maybe I want to do it for women empowerment, maybe I want to do for maybe orphan people, maybe I want to do for the old people, maybe I want to do for the children who are actually getting abused, maybe I want to do it for the professionals, the freshers who are not getting the job, maybe I want to do something that the mid-career people who are going through a lot of struggle, then how can I help them? Maybe I want to do something that after midlife, that is the midlife, they are not able to plan for finances, then they struggle through that. Maybe I want to help there. So what is that one thing which you feel that you want to help in the society beyond you? That is a question. Can you type something which comes to your mind so that you can also learn in the process? Can you type something which comes to your mind? Yes, no? Anything, anyone? Something which is coming to your mind, which is beyond you. Anyone? You can type as well. Now, the second question you need to ask yourself is the next question you need to ask yourself is, what do you want to change in the world? What do you want to change in the world? Think about it. What do you want to change in today's world? Everything you are getting on the tip of your fingers. What is that one or two things that you want to change? You may not want to change everything, but something you feel very closely to your heart that you want to change. What is that one or two things that you want to change? Discrimination or amendment of old people. Thank you very much, Geeta, for writing this. Discrimination or amendment of old people. Now think about it. Geeta is coming up with that something which she feels that because the families are getting nuclear now, the joint family tradition is getting over. The old people are getting ignored because they are not upgrading themselves with the technology. They are not going to understand what the mobile technology is. They wouldn't even know how to operate the mobile. And at the same time, you are probably trying to explain them and they will not understand it because they are being conditioned by their own thoughts, which are quite traditional in the nature. Do you all agree? And then we start discriminating with them. We just ignore them. We just put them into a what do you call, a disinterest zone or ignorance zone, where we are no longer bothered about them. We just ignore them completely. But with that old age, they have also gained certain experience which are valuable, which are gold. Correct? Support old age home and provide food for the malnourished children. Wonderful. So what is that one thing which you want to change is something which you need to learn about. Now, the third thing which you need to ask is, What would your peers and the family would say about you on your deathbed? Very, very profound. How many of you are finding it? What would your peers and family would say about you on the deathbed? Think about it. There are not many. Rishi Kapoor died. How many people were there on the funeral? Hero, superhero, right? Hardly few people. He died in oblivion. Yes or no? So think about it, that what is that your peers, family will be telling about you when you are on your deathbed. Because if they can tell you that he lived his life fully, you have achieved your purpose. When Azim Premji will die, people will tell about that he has lived his life fully. Yes or no? Right? He has worked like you and I in the corporate job. He went through his rank, became a person, an entrepreneur, which we all are proud of. Now he is just doing a philanthropy. He has earned everything and he is going to die empty. Yes? And they are doing it for a cause. Now, we as an average human, if you are trying to think about this, thinking, oh, they have a lot of money, so they'll do it. Who is stopping you? Anybody is stopping you? Has he taken the risk to earn money, to set up the business, to run it on his shoulders? Yes or no? Yeah? Was he not having the family in that case? He was also having the family. He was also having children. He was also having parents. Yeah? He also wanted to buy a house. He also wanted to do something. But then if you do not take a simple risk of not coming out of your own comfort zone and convenience zone, which we call a CC zone, right? Single income, single identity, CC, and CC, that is carbon copy, that is comfort and convenience zone. And we complain about and we tell about and judge about the other people that, oh, he has got so much of it because he has done something like this, something fishy. Why? He has taken that risk. He has taken that risk, right? Now, another question which you need to ask yourself is, what legacy you want to leave this world? What legacy you want to leave this world with? Think about it. What legacy you want to leave this world with? Can you leave this world as a normal person where you are just being buried or burned like a normal person? That's it. एक बंदा आया, सर्टिफिकेट पे नाम लिखाया, गया. That's it, right? Some money is left. If you have left a lot of money, then there will be fight, quarrel with your children, right? If you are not left with nothing, then again there will be fight with your children. Correct? पूरी जिंदगी क्या किया? 60 साल. That's what your children will ask in either case. How many of you are realizing it? How many of you are realizing it? Think about it, that your second generation or third generation onwards, nobody would even know your name. For example, my son doesn't know name of my grandfather and my great grandfather. They don't know. They don't bother even. They hardly remember my father's name. And we talk about, oh, let's do hard work, let's stay in the survival safety, and then probably die one day, and you're dying for nothing. So what legacy that you want to leave for in this world? That is a question you need to ask. What is the legacy? We have a very noble intention about us, right? That we are, as human, we are very good at heart, by the way. It is given natural to us. And that's why you feel a lot of emotions, isn't it? Every one of us feel a lot of emotions because we are very good at heart per se. It is very pure, correct? But we do not listen to it. That is also equally true. Yeah? We do not listen to it. And we listen to mostly the mind. Yes, because it can rationalize the thing. It can rationalize the thing. Now, think about another question, that is, what would be your TED talk be about? If you are given an opportunity to give a TED talk, what would that be? For me, it is very, very clear how to rise above the average. How to rise above the average would be my TED talk on. Whenever I'll do this year, I would be doing that on this topic, rise above the average. Because that is where you are very much glued to your purpose, that you want to bring people, uplift people, and raise the bar of the people. Making sense? Anybody has goosebumps remembering that thing, regretting something? Anybody has goosebumps? Any comments anybody has? Friday night, you have not even drunk and still you are getting emotional about it. Anyone wants to share? Anyone wants to share anything that comes to your mind after asking these questions to you? Anyone? Yes, no?
Yeah, I want to just share something,
Yes,
Rakesh.
Geeta. Please go ahead.
I After listening to all of this, most of the time I remember my grandfather a lot because he's into all of this charity and things like that. He believed in it, and he had a board which tells at the home, telling that don't make money for children, make children ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನೇ. In Kannada it says that you make them worthwhile and don't make money for your children. And he
Absolutely.
believed, he truly believed in it. And probably he raised us, or I mean, as a grandchild, I really have some fond memories with him, where it was never about the materialistic things. It was always about the simple care, appreciation, the kind of happiness that they used to share with us. I really feel that that's missing these days. And the kind of treatments, when I see people around, really, when they're dealing with the old age people, it's really shocking and probably very I mean, it's kind of at least not digestible by me.
I agree.
So I truly relate to whatever you are telling. That yeah, I think it's worthwhile because he has some trust where a lot of children were given educations too. So probably there are a lot of people in the community who will remember for ages. And it was not just the family members, there were a lot of people who kind of really felt that
Regretted.
he led a good life. So yeah,
Very.
truly. Yeah.
So now the question you need to ask is, Geeta, how can you leave that legacy? Isn't it?
Right, truly. Yeah, it is. Frankly speaking, yeah, the kind of things that they did, it's not an easy ask for them, also, probably. And it
It
really
was
takes,
far more difficult than today's world.
correct. Yeah, yeah,
In all the respect, their life was far more difficult than us. We haven't seen so many earthquakes, the diseases and floods and terrorism, then the riots, and then the maybe the slavery and everything. And
true.
just
I'm,
one pandemic has actually shaken us. One pandemic.
yeah, I remember him telling about his, I mean, kind of pandemic where they have to flee from one village to other completely.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
and
They were
and
not
the
even
kind of
safe.
living they lived, I mean, he used to describe the kind of living. He used to tell that, yeah, right now whatever you are is like way comfortable. You just cannot imagine the kind of situation where they lived in their younger age.
True.
For them, just basic necessity was a very big deal.
100%. 100%. That is what we are pretty much ahead of them in terms of standard of living, but pretty much backward in terms of the thinking.
Yeah, yeah, the morality at which they all were, I think it is slowly decreasing a lot. And the connect between the humans are reducing, gadgets are increasing.
Absolutely. That is where we all need to, this generation who is witnessing this changes, this entire evolution has to step up. If we do not step up, our next generation will be even more worst in terms of connecting to humans. They'll be loving the machines more and humans less. That is what is going to happen. And you must have seen it with the children now. They don't go and play outside. They would rather prefer to work on the mobile and play. That is the thing which we can stop as our generation, and this is where we need to step in. That how can we save the humanity at the larger level? How can we raise the bar of the people in terms of their thinking, their awareness, their way of living, and so on? Okay. Now the another question which you can ask is that if you die in the next 6 months or so, what would be the biggest regret that you will have? If you die in next 6 months or so, what would be the biggest regret that you'll have? And let me tell you a story of that person who, he is my mentee, and he, in 2016 or 17, I think, by December he was actually vacationing in the Kerala, and he went to Mahindra Resort. He was doing the adventure sports. He was into that for a long time, and he started doing the from the tree climbing, tree to tree climbing. So he was just starting to uh, going from one tree to another tree. That was the adventure sport. So as soon as he started, the harness broke. He fell down from the top of the tree, 40 feet down, fell on the car, okay, and he almost got all the eye and around ruptured on the left eye. People had lost the hope for him. He was rushed to the hospital. He was operated. He was unconscious for 2 3 days. And after 2 3 days, when he was asked by his family that who did you miss the most, then he said that I missed the most about becoming an entrepreneur. And their family was surprised because they were thinking that they would have been missed by him most, right? That is very natural. But no, he said that I missed out, that I didn't do something worthwhile in life. I wanted to try that, and I don't want to regret for that. So within 3 months after that operation and resuming the duties in his job and everything, he was a head of marketing. He left that job and started on his own. First 1 year failed because he did it without any guidance or anything. Second year he started with, today he is kind of leading from the front in the corporate wellness sector, where he is tying up with Milin Soman and launching a program of corporate wellness. So if you are behind that purpose, what you want to do, that is where it will come to you automatically. So think about it, what would you regret the most if you die in next 6 months? And there is no guarantee that you will not die, even though the vaccine of corona is available. How many of you agree with that? There's no guarantee that you will not die, even though the vaccine of corona is available today. Correct? So this is something which you need to ask yourself to be. Okay? Then which the one which I asked you earlier as well, and again I am asking you, that what is the injustice or the pain that you want to correct for your life? You must have gone through some pain, some injustice. What is that something which you want to correct in your life? That is something which you need to ask. And most of us have one or the other thing. Even though you were born with the silver spoon and had a very wonderful childhood, let me tell you, during the growing up years or towards the corporate life or otherwise, you must have gone through a lot of pain. Something which you felt that it has been an injustice to you, maybe as an entrepreneur, maybe as a employee, maybe as a person, but you might have gone through certain injustice or pain. And that is something which you need to find out whether you can correct that in life, which can be not repeated for somebody else. Right? Now, why did I take this session today? Because you have 2 days to ponder about. Some of you have already started thinking about it, but now you have weekend which can help you to think about those questions, and it can come up with a lot of answers. My general recommendation for all of you is write down as much as you can with the pen and paper, that what is that I really, really want in my life? What is that I'm behind? What is that I want to create a legacy on? What is the pain or injustice that I want to solve? What would be my biggest regret today if I die? Don't think about that. What are your constraints in terms of doing something? Think about what you would be doing. That is the right thing to do first. How many of you are getting it? Yes. How many of you enjoyed understanding what the purpose is behind? If you have not understood this part, let me tell you that a lot of things that you will do in your life, throughout your career, throughout your job, you'll become a CXO, CEO once in your lifetime, right? But if you have not understood this part where you need to find and connect to your purpose in the life, it is said that the purpose of the life is to first find out the purpose and second to live through it. Purpose of the life is to find out the purpose and live through it. Most of us do not live our purpose, we are living somebody else's purpose. How many of you agree with that? If you are living on somebody else's purpose, their purpose is getting solved, not yours. Their purpose is getting solved. And it could be as good as you doing the job also. It doesn't mean that you need to leave the job, but is it solving or serving your purpose is the question you need to ask. It is not necessary that you need to leave everything and go to Himalaya and start doing the meditation. It is about whether you have realized that and whether you know the ways to actually achieve and serve that purpose throughout the life. Because if you are not serving, think about it that two people have been given the car with the same fuel tank with the same fuel. Now both these people were sent on the earth and told, go and explore. One person goes, take a round, 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 same place, same where. Home, office, home, office, home, office, home, office, home. The other person says, let me explore what it lies in front of me. Whose journey will be hard? Whose journey will be hard and tough? You know it, the second person will have the tough journey. Yes or no? But is it worthwhile? Is it worth when he explores the scenery that he wants to see in the world? Is it worth for him to identify new places, new world, new kingdom? Is it worth to probably find his own treasure? And that is what we are sent here for, not to take a round, round, round. What we are doing. Making sense? How many of you have an aha moment today? Learning your purpose, how to find your purpose. Yes, and I want you to put not only feedback but put the questions that you pondered about in your life today, and you are going to ponder about at least today, and by the end of 2 days you can put your experience that Rakesh, I have gone through this exercise and I have come up with this and this. Okay, it might help somebody else who has not been doing, might help him or her so that they can find out their own purpose. You might inspire somebody else. Making sense? Yes? So, who promises to actually explore this? Today, the task is very, very simple. Put the questions that you are going to explore in next 2 days. That is on weekend. And by the end of the weekend, maybe Sunday end, because Monday you will get into your rut, right? So by the end of the weekend, you put that I have explored this. Keep that time for reflection for yourself. Keep that time for reflection for yourself. Making sense, guys? Are you with me? Okay, so wish you all the best, and I hope each one of you put the in the comment in the group that this is what I'm going to explore in these 2 days, and I'm going to find out my purpose and passion